Adrasteia was a revered figure in ancient Greek religion and mythology. Her story started as a Phrygian mountain goddess, but later evolved to gain different associations as time passed. She was later known as a Cretan nymph and the daughter of Melesius. Adrasteia was charged with nurturing the infant Zeus in secret and protecting him from his father, Cronus. As time passed, Adrasteia became identified with Nemesis, the goddess of divine retribution. Her newfound association meant that she had the power to bring justice to those who didn't follow the law or ethics. She was often depicted with a balance and a sword, symbols of justice. Adrasteia was a powerful figure that could predict people's fates. Although feared, her role as a balancer of good and evil was much needed in ancient Greek society. She was a vital part of their religion and mythology, and people looked to her for guidance and protection. Adrasteia had many different titles throughout history, but she was always seen as a powerful and important part of the pantheon of gods in ancient Greece. Adrasteia, the goddess of inevitable fate, was worshipped in various cities throughout Greece, but it was in Athens where she became a popular figure for public worship. The goddess was often associated with the Thracian goddess Bendis, and her cult was partly supported by public funds. It was believed by some that Adrasteia was the same as Rhea, the mother of the Olympian gods, acting under a different guise. While others saw her as the sister of Nemesis, her story always remained the same. Adrasteia was the embodiment of fate and the consequences of actions. One of the most famous stories about Adrasteia centers around the birth of Zeus. When Cronos learned that he was fated to be overthrown, he devoured each of his newborn children to prevent the prophecy from coming true. Rhea, desperate to save her sixth child, Zeus, sought out Adrasteia and entrusted her to raise the infant in secret. Adrasteia became the protector of Zeus and fed and cared for him in a cave on Mount Dicte in Crete. She also used her magical powers to disguise the cries of the infant with the sound of thunder. Adrasteia's role ensured that the prophecy became fulfilled, but she also ensured that Zeus survived. Her story continues to serve as a reminder of the balance of fate and the importance of being accountable for one's actions. Pausanias, a 2nd-century geographer, reported seeing a statue of Adrasteia in a temple of Apollo, Artemis, and Leto at Syra near Delphi. Her cult was also supported in Cyzicus and on the Phrygian Mount Ida, and together with Nemesis, she was venerated at Kos. Adrasteia's name appeared in the accounts of the treasurers of the other gods, which was a record of the public worship of the gods in Athens. Her association with Bendis suggests that her cult was partly supported by public funds in Athens. This highlights the importance of Adrasteia's role in ancient Greek society as a goddess who oversaw the consequences of actions and inevitably of fate. Adrasteia, the Greek goddess, was believed to have been a Phrygian mountain goddess, closely associated with the almighty Cybele. Her worshippers believed that Adrasteia lived in places like Priapus, Cyzicus, and Troad, where the goddess Cybele was also highly worshipped. Historical records suggest that Adrasteia and Cybele had a significant connection. In the lost epic poem Phorones, Adrasteia is described as a Phrygian mountain goddess who is served by the Idaean dactyls, making it hard to differentiate between her and Cybele. The famous ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus also associates Adrasteia with the Berecynthan land, the same place where the mother of the gods, Cybele, was worshipped. Legend has it that Adrasteia was a goddess of destiny, and her name was often used to describe things that were unavoidable or fated to happen. She was also sometimes depicted as a shepherdess who raised Zeus in secret, feeding him with milk from the sacred goat Amalthea. These fascinating details make Adrasteia an intriguing character in Greek mythology. In ancient Greece, there was a goddess named Adrasteia, associated with the idea of inescapability, often considered an epithet for the goddess Nemesis. Legend has it that Adrasteia was named after King Adrastus of Hellespontine Phrygia, who built the first temple of Nemesis in a city and plain in the Troad. Antimachus and Callisthenes both credited Adrastus with building the first altar to Nemesis, but some ancient writers linked the name to the fate of Argive king Adrastus, whose destiny none could escape. Perhaps due to her association with inescapable fate, Adrasteia was also connected to Argolis, where a spring and a mountaintop route were named after her. These geographical associations portrayed Adrasteia as a goddess with powers beyond human reach, embodying the force of destiny itself. Her story serves as a reminder that sometimes, there are forces at work in the world that are simply beyond our control.